What shapes history, power, or will? He was not just an emperor, but an idea. Does genius set us free or leave us utterly alone? Napoleon, the story of a man who became a revolution.
On August 15, 1769, Napoleone Bonaparte was born on the Mediterranean island of Corsica, a place where the tides of history had already begun to shift even before his birth. At the time of his arrival, Corsica had just been annexed by the French Empire, a fact that would mark the beginning of his complex relationship with the state he would one day rule. His family was of Italian descent. His father, Carlo Bonaparte, was a lawyer, and his mother, Letizia Ramolino, a woman of remarkable strength and determination. Napoleon's childhood unfolded in an environment filled with poverty and political turmoil. He was a quiet and observant child. While other children played games, Napoleon built imaginary armies from stones and spoke to the wind in solitude. At the age of 9, he was sent to the military academy in Brienne-le-Château, France. He spoke no French at the time, and his Corsican accent became the subject of ridicule. Nevertheless, he quickly excelled in his studies, particularly in mathematics, history, and military strategy. During these formative years, he recognized the injustice of life and began to dream of reshaping the world on his own terms. He would later recall, "Even as a child, I fought the wind."
First steps in rise in the army.
After graduating from the École Militaire in Paris, Napoleon began his career as an artillery officer. Despite his young age, he viewed the battlefield as a board of logic, each move calculated with mathematical precision. The French Revolution dramatically altered his destiny. The monarchy crumbled, society was thrown into chaos, and from that chaos, new leaders emerged. In 1793, during the Siege of Toulon, his strategic brilliance gained national attention. At just 24, he was promoted to the rank of general, an extraordinary feat in revolutionary France. For Napoleon, this was more than a military success. It was his official entry onto the grand stage of history. His 1796 campaign in Italy further solidified his reputation. With a modest force, he defeated the powerful Austrian military. His now famous words to his soldiers, "I lead you from misery to glory," reflected his ability to inspire through vision and belief. Napoleon had ceased to be merely a man. He had become an idea.
Building the empire.
On December 2nd, 1804, in the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, during his coronation ceremony, Napoleon took the crown from the Pope and placed it on his own head. This was not an act of arrogance, but a symbol. "I choose my own destiny." He redefined France not only physically, but ideologically. His civil code, known as the Code Napoleon, would go on to serve as the legal foundation for many nations across the world. He enacted sweeping reforms in governance, education, and the military. European thrones began to fall before him. Italy, Prussia, Austria, and Spain all failed to resist his strategic might. For Napoleon, war was merely politics spoken in a different language. "I am an emperor because I dare to think what millions do not," he once said, an insight into the radical uniqueness of his worldview.
The weight of genius.
Napoleon was not merely a soldier or a commander, he was one of the most philosophical leaders of his era. He believed the sword could conquer, but only the pen could endure. Each morning he would study maps, not to see land, but to identify possibilities. For him, every battle was a projection of thought, and every defeat, a lesson. Yet within him raged an eternal conflict, the tension between being a man and becoming a legend. In one of his reflections, he admitted, "Sometimes I feel unworthy of joy, for my life no longer belongs to humanity, it belongs to history." His genius elevated him above others, but that very brilliance left him utterly alone.
From Russia to St. Helena.
The Russian campaign of 1812 became one of the most disastrous military expeditions in history. Snow, disease, hunger, and exhaustion decimated the French army. From the 600,000 soldiers who marched eastward, only 30,000 returned. For the first time, Napoleon had been defeated, not by man, but by nature itself. In 1814, he abdicated the throne and was exiled to the island of Elba, but peace was never in his nature. In 1815, he returned from exile and launched the famous 100 Days campaign. Once more, hope ignited in France, but the Battle of Waterloo brought everything to an end. Napoleon was now exiled to the remote island of St. Helena. There, alone and surrounded by the sea, he began to write his own version of history.
A legend written in solitude.
The years in exile marked the most introspective period of Napoleon's life. Far from the voices of empire and surrounded by the sound of waves, he began to explore the essence of his being. Though no longer a political figure, his thoughts deepened and his philosophical reflections took new form. His writings from this period remain a rich source of insight for modern strategists. "The world has forgotten me, but I changed the world," he wrote. Though he died in 1821, Napoleon was never truly erased from history. He had transcended mere mortality and become a symbol of time itself.
Interesting facts.
The myth that Napoleon was short is incorrect. He stood 1.69 meters tall, the average height for his era. He began each day by washing with cold water and adhering to a strict schedule. Nearly 33,000 of his handwritten letters are preserved in Paris. His favorite horse, Marengo, saved his life in battle 8 times. Napoleon's remains lie under the Golden Dome of Les Invalides in Paris.
Napoleon's legacy.
Napoleon's political and legal legacy endures to this day. He played a crucial role in shaping modern statehood, governance, and civil society. The Napoleonic Code remains the basis of many contemporary legal systems. His reforms transformed not only France, but the entire European landscape. His strategic brilliance is still studied in military academies around the world. His approach, long-term planning, psychological motivation, and tactical flexibility, remains relevant even today.
The voice of history.
Napoleon Bonaparte is not merely a name, but a voice, a calling, and a lesson. He proved that human intellect and willpower could reshape the course of civilization. But he also revealed that unchecked power can corrode the human soul. His journey began with imaginary armies made of stone and rose to the heights of imperial rule, only to end in the quiet of exile on St. Helena. But that silence was not an end. He changed not only battlefields, but the battlegrounds of ideas. Napoleon left us with an eternal question: does genius liberate us or leave us utterly alone? Thank you for staying with us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and leave a comment.